This episode is brought to you by National Geographic, presenting its new documentary film, Endurance. Follow the greatest survival story ever told, unpacking the legendary feat of polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton, who kept his crew alive for over a year, despite losing their ship in frigid pack ice. Over a century later, a team of modern-day explorers set out to find the sunken ship. Endurance, now streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Ben Harper.
Hey, this is Brad Lukowicz. Hey, this is Lou Temple. You know me as Axel on The Walking Dead.
This is Smooth Bester Henderson.
Hi, this is William Duvall, singer of Alice in Chains.
Hi, this is Jim Cuddy from Blue Rodeo.
Hi, I am Zach Ward.
Hey guys, it's Alexis Ajoria, 7-time NHRA National Event Champion.
Hey, what's going on? This is Bubbles.
This is Ricky. This is Julian.
And you're listening to the Toddcast Podcast, baby.
The Toddcast Podcast
is powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, providing complete financing and mortgage services for residential and small commercial businesses. Visit them at citywidemortgage.ca.
Now, here's your host, Todd Hancock.
If fitness is a big part of your life, you need to continually think about your workouts and nutrition. What's going into your body? As you've heard on this podcast through various guests over the years, a balanced diet promotes muscle growth and helps in recovery. It builds strength and endurance. And for those looking for a career in bodybuilding, the demands are even bigger. You'll want to get the IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness certification. It's a huge milestone. It's the know-how of human anatomy, exercise science, nutrition. You need to be able to effectively guide your clients. So to say it's not an easy certification is an understatement. Making her second appearance on the cast, IFBB Bikini Pro Nicole Cerrini is a guest this week.
Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. I ended up winning my IFBB Pro card in July at Universe. Yes, so that was incredible, like such an amazing feeling. And everything kind of happened pretty quick after that. 2 weeks after that, I competed in my first pro show at the Chicago Pro.
Wow.
So amazing, unreal experience. So yeah, this past year has been incredible. And right now I'm in a building season. So planning to compete again next year, but just building up some more muscle before that.
Joining Nicole Cerrini, she is a subcontractor at SpaceX, a master stylist at the Kennedy Space Center, and is deeply entrenched in the Twisted Recovery Experience program, combining mental health, music, magic, and addiction recovery through a unique approach. Kristina Krajewski is a guest as well.
Everybody's got a story, but this is, you don't see it, Todd. You don't see anybody. You just see the intervention of, you're no good, or what happened to that person? Are they okay? You know, and that's how we threw it to the network, or I threw it to my fellow producer I chose. I said, we got to do something, because I would never ordinarily do this. This is not anybody, I'm sure, but me. That's not who I am, you know, and it ruined my marriage of 17 years. So I said, somebody's got to put their foot down. Somebody's got to get out here. Somebody's got to do something. Talk, you know. Well, I'm a talker, so.
And I know a lot of people, like, even in myself, I guess, like I would like to think, like, if somebody were to become addicted to something, I would help them. I would step in. But a lot of people say that, and a lot of people don't do it, right?
It's the shame. I was raised, I'm eclectic. I hang with everyone, you know. Back in school, in high school, when you used to have smoking court, I hung with everyone. The freaks, I went through going to H-hole and everybody, I would just bebop with my cigarette to everyone. So it took a village to raise me, and it's going to take a village to save me for real, because holy, you think you're going to ace it when you're in addiction. Not me. Yeah, okay.
So this week we have an IFBB Bikini Pro, an addiction recovery program founder, and you'll hear from this week's musical guest in just a second. A Canadian singer-songwriter. She's been banging away over in the UK, making a name for herself in that part of the world. New music is coming from her camp in just a little bit. My name is Todd Hancock. Appreciate you being there. As always, a huge thanks to our title sponsor, Citywide Mortgage Services. My buddy Dara is an owner in the company and will help you with renewing a mortgage or maybe getting a first mortgage. These types of things should not be stressful. Let the experts help out. Use my circle of friends, my network, and breathe easy knowing that you'll get the best rates possible. The Bank of Canada, of course, you may know this, just lowered the prime rate. So things are starting to turn around in that regard. It is a big thing in your life. And let my good friend Dara at Citywide Mortgage Services navigate those sometimes tricky waters for you. All right, so coming up in just a little bit, shortly, in Stop Me If You've Heard This Before, former UFC fighter Randa Marcos talks about the best fighters she thinks of all time, pound for pound. That is powered by our good friends FKP MMA. Great little spot to learn self-defense, build self-esteem, learn to protect yourself and everyone around you. Vancouver's #1 training destination. Find them online through fkpmma.com. First, our first guest of 3, this week's musical guest, as mentioned, a Canadian singer-songwriter named Elena Erin. That's powered by the Hawkins Sound Ranch. Get over 20 years experience. Use their state-of-the-art studio. It is absolutely dialed. Corey, the owner, loves to say it's commercial sound on an indie budget. And for indie bands, that's got to have a great ring to it. So check them out through the Hawkins Sound Ranch.com. And when Elena's PR company reached out to us, they sent a couple of songs, a few pictures, the social media platforms, her story kind of thing. Heartfelt lyrics, authentic. There's a blend of folk, pop, and indie. She's carved out a very distinctive sound and style, a great vocal range. And over the years, Elena's continued to work with other artists, as artists tend to do, in honing the craft. And for the last little while, as mentioned, she's lived over in the UK, and she's been making a name for herself over there, making music and playing shows, of course, going out to see other bands, as you do. It's part of the gig as being an artist and being in a band. And since Elena is Canadian, raised in a small community in northern BC, real close to the Alaskan border, being away from home is really nothing new to her, as you'll hear her talk about going to the Berklee College of Music and that she was actually a pretty good student.
I was homeschooled my whole life, and that was my first time going to a school. So I think I was the teacher's pet for the first year and a half. I was I get grades, I can do this, I get to go to a class in the movies, this is so cool. Yeah. And then in 2015, over that summer, I had gone to New York to do internships. And I ended up kind of okay, I got to get life ready for as soon as I graduate, because I have no idea how I'm going to I'll have one year of a visa to legally stay and work in the country. So I need to get things happening. And in New York, I felt more connected. I had found different people to work with or do internships at, or just was meeting a lot of people. So my last year of college, I put all my classes onto 2 days a week. It was actually mostly staying on friends' couches in New York. Would go to Boston, I would take the bus there, do 2 full days of classes, and then bus back to New York, be there the rest of the time. Yeah, I got very little sleep.
And great to get Elena to tell her story. We talked for just over half hour. You can hear it right now at iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts. Or if you'd rather see the interview, all videos are posted at our YouTube channel. You can find everything at Toddcast Podcast. As you would expect, there's a lot of talk about music, like getting national radio play, recording music in studio. And since her new album isn't out until early 2025. How weird is it to have an album and sit on it, not release it for months and months after it's completed?
It's so weird. I always joke that I feel like I'm like, when you're releasing stuff, it's releasing in the past, because like
totally
by the time you've written it and you've been obsessed with it, you're like, this is such a good idea, and then it actually gets out is like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
These songs, I started writing them actually like in 2021.
Oh.
I was still releasing my last album and had those songs all kind of coming out. Started writing these, and then I think started recording them in 2022, and kind of working like virtually with my producer, and then like going to his studio a bit. He had just moved to France, so like going there a bit to record some of them. And then early 2023, so early last year, went and like finished recording all the vocals, writing everything like that. And then as soon as I did that, I was like, I'm so burnt out. I don't even want to look at this project. I don't want to touch it. I don't even know if it's good. Like, I'm done. I was just like, I'm done with music for a minute. And like, I'm just going to do some more behind the scenes stuff. I was working with a bunch of other artists, like helping them with songwriting, artist development, all of that. But I just felt like I feel like so much of like the indie artist thing is you're just putting stuff out, and just like hoping that one day you'll get a break. And it can be like, the burnout is so real of like,
sure,
I don't know what to do, right? So I was going to like release it last year, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like give it a minute. And that felt great to do, because then I finally came back to it this year, started the whole like mixing and mastering process. And that was great because I could like hear it with fresh ears. Everything felt better. We were able to make any production changes I wanted. And then I feel like this release has felt like way more sustainable. I'm still doing it all on my own, having to plan all that stuff. But it doesn't just feel like I'm like throwing stuff out in the wind and like, okay, it's out there and I'm too tired to do anything. It's like, okay, I'm putting it out, and like I can like get back that excitement about it and like show people how it feels to me and everything like that. But it is weird. It is like, yeah, weird to have it all and have to be like, y'all can't hear it for another 6 months.
Well, the beauty though, of course, Elena, is that, you know, as old as it is for you, it's new to all of us.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be brand new to everybody that tastes it, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. But it's weird. It's weird. Like I've talked to some artists that have said like they're literally sit on an album for almost a year before they release. Like what?
But it's like I remember hearing interviews from, and even just artists saying like I'd shown a song to like label people and nobody believed in it, and that was like 10 years earlier, right? Or like,
yeah,
I think that happens so much more than we realize, that like there's something that's been created and it takes so long before it's finally released or comes out.
But it's so good when it finally comes out though.
Yeah.
You got to think that'd be a bit odd, right? You've got this new album, you want people to hear it, but now you've got to wait months, sometimes close to a year, to release this new quote unquote album. The album is borderline old for you when you release it. You've got new music that really truly isn't even on the album you're about to release. I think it's odd. Got to other parts of Elena's life as well, like the shows that she's been binge watching. We talked about finding inspiration, how she runs marathons. She shared a near-death story, talked about aliens in documentaries. The worst jobs she's had came up, so did family life. And Elena talked about London's music scene.
So I feel in a way that I'm still getting used to it again, because I think during the pandemic, during COVID times, everything got shut down. And from what I can tell, and I hear this is the same in Canada, in everywhere, that it's like the whole scene kind of reemerges differently everywhere. So there's a lot of places here that people would say like, go check this out, go meet these people, all these things. And those people have moved outside of London. Those places have shut, all of that.
Shut down, sure, yeah.
Yeah. But I found making music in New York kind of challenging, because I found like, especially if you did pop music, most of the people I knew were out in LA, and that kind of was where the scene was like all out there. And here I find that there's a lot of people, they like have their own kind of like sound and music scene going on. So you're able to like meet people that are creating their own thing rather than trying to like fit in with like a certain style of music, I find.
That's cool. So you're playing shows there too then, right?
I had a show a month and a half ago here. I've been doing single release shows. So as I release a song, because I've been gearing up to like release all the songs on the album. Yeah. So when I release a song, I've been doing a bunch of shows around it. So that's the same thing. I'm going to play a show as well in New York in 2 weeks, and then do another single release show in Canada, in Calgary. Yeah.
Right, think about that. A Canadian in the UK's music scene. It has to be super neat for Elena. I loved hearing her talk about being over there and going to shows, putting on shows. I think it's very cool. And equally neat to hear Elena talk about the music in her life as a kid and how she was homeschooled.
I think, they say like there's like the idea of like parents projecting their uncompleted dreams onto their children.
Sure. I
think my mom did that, where I think she always wanted to be a musician and never had the opportunity. So like I have 6, like I'm from a family of 6 siblings, so 8 of us total. And my mom had all of us in music lessons, which now looking back is crazy because like we grew up on a farm. Money was always tight. We were always like, she was always like, this is our limited budget. That's why money was tight.
That's why it was tight.
Yeah, that's why it was, right? No, like I remember her always being like, waiting on like the government subsidy checks that you have when you have kids, and like that would help us like cover basic costs. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, that is crazy that like we never got like additional things growing up, or like had the like food was like basic things that you would buy every week and that's it. Like we live off this stuff only.
Yeah.
And that somehow she was like, but music, I'm gonna put them all through music. So
it's incredible. So everybody was homeschooled too?
Yeah. Yep.
We tossed around because I have 2 kids. I have 2 boys, grade 9 and grade 7 now. But we tossed around the idea of homeschooling and talked ourselves out of it when we started.
Why did you talk yourselves out of it?
Well, I think it just was like, do we have the time and the patience, I think, more than anything, to like make sure that our kids grew up with an education. Like I still have a job. I have to go work. So I'm going to leave my wife with my kids for 8 straight hours and hopefully she does the, you know what I mean? I think we just talked ourselves out of it. We're like, this is like a fucking massive task.
I think it can be done well, but I think it really depends also on where you live. Like if you're in more farming communities, I think it does make sense there, because a lot of times you do school in the morning, you learn everything you would need to learn from a full day at an actual school because you're able to learn it so quickly.
Yeah.
And then you're the rest of the afternoon doing kid things or helping out with farm work or stuff like that. Like it kind of does make sense. But then there's also that like lack of, and I know a lot of people say like, oh, you can like go do sports and other things with like kids and socialize that way. But there is this lack of like learning how to like go through conflict with kids that aren't your siblings and how to like navigate the world in ways that you're going to have to learn to later on that you kind of, I think, learn in a school environment. I don't know. So it's a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting though. Yeah, I don't meet many people that have been homeschooled. Did you like it?
Me neither.
Yeah, me neither. You like
Especially like as soon as people, when you're like, I'm homeschooled, everybody's like growing up, they'd be like, oh, but like you're not socially awkward. Like there's just always that thing that like somebody's really socially awkward. But then in college, whenever I told people like, oh, I was homeschooled, they'd be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'd always be like, what does that mean? Yeah.
Toddcast Podcast musical guest visits are powered by the Hawkins Sound Ranch. Use their 20-plus years of experience to record at their state-of-the-art studio. Commercial sound on an indie budget. Visit thehawkinssoundranch.com for more.
Feel the pressure in your pulse tonight. You kiss my lungs. Play records on the phone tonight while you get drunk. She jumps my bones. Hey, Snow White, I got a thing for you tonight. In your room, I find myself crawling under you.
The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca. And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
Retired UFC fighter Randa Marcos is an Assyrian, Iraqi-born Canadian fighter. Quite the story. Her family made their way to Canada during the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s. She was just 3 years old and her family was held at gunpoint and imprisoned. Randa hasn't fought since October 2021, a win over Livia Renata Souza in the strawweight division. She made her pro debut in November of 2012 in Invicta, and Randa brought a 3-0 record to RFA, lost her first fight there, and then moved on to become champ in the PFC. Then it was a chance to fight in the Ultimate Fighter, where she went on to beat Tisha Torres as part of Team Pettis, and ultimately lost in the last episode of that season. Randa made her promotional debut in the Ultimate Fighter 20 finale, where she lost, but she got Fight of the Night. And from there, you've seen her fight in the UFC, closing out her career with 11 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw. And when Randa was a guest, we talked about all sorts of things. Aliens visiting Earth came up, what it was like growing up in Windsor, Ontario, legalized weed. We talked about her love of horror and the paranormal, competing on the Ultimate Fighter show, getting kids enrolled in MMA. And stop me if you've heard this before, Randa talked about who she thought were the best fighters of all time.
I don't know, there's so many good people out there, and you can't really pick a specific great fighter. I mean, GSP was definitely one of the best. I think Demetrius Johnson, definitely, one of the best. It's hard to say because styles win fights, So, but definitely, I think Demetrius Johnson. It sucks to see that he left the UFC because I feel like he didn't get a fair opportunity, like defend himself or anything like that, defend his title, or come back and try to get his title again. So, John Jones, he's a great fighter and everything, but I don't know. We'll see how he is now that he's got no drugs to take, and they're constantly on him about that stuff. So we'll see.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by FKP MMA, Vancouver's #1 training destination at fkpmma.com. And now, highlighting our next Blue Light Sessions, powered in part by Canadian Club Whiskey. Meet your new cold one. We serve Canadian Club and Ginger ready-to-drink cocktails at all of our live shows. Visit CanadianClub.com today.
You're eating all the food, but no one's caught by you.
Oh, you get the feeling that our next live show is going to be great. They are called the Get Minds, and a new song for them, Shelled Out. It's new Toddcast music as we patiently wait for their show with us. At the end of the month, we're on volume 32 now. Friday, November 29th, it's the Get Minds and Blue Stem. And I'll play something from those guys later on in the podcast. We're at over 30 shows in, so if you've been, you know what to expect. I interview both bands for maybe the first 15, 20 minutes of their 45-minute set. I will give you the option of asking the bands questions as well. We try to make these nights something you'll remember for a while. We want you to come back and check these shows out. Mingle with the band as we change things over, like between sets sort of thing, right? Usually a 15, 20-minute break and a chance to take a pee if you need to, or grab a Red Truck beer, a Canadian Club Tall Boy, a Nude Vodka Soda. All of our booze sponsors show up. It's excellent synergy right there. And it usually gets pretty lit up. So if you are coming to these shows, please plan a safe ride home, okay? You heard the Vito's, and that's their song called Perfect Stranger. And they played a couple shows for us over the years. Was actually just poking around the other day and wanted to see if they wanted to maybe bang something off again. And if you're a betting person, place large on that happening. In fact, I'd be waiting for an official announcement to come maybe in the next week or two. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Good dudes, great songs, killer players. Again, that's a band called The Vito's. All right, so coming up in just a few minutes in Listen to This, Black Joe Lewis talks about songwriting and how that's changed or not for him over the years. That is powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley. 8-year sponsor. An absolutely massive reason we're able to continue to keep banging out these podcasts for you over the years. They're the go-to for anything RV related, service, repairs. They are ICBC accredited, so you know you're in good hands. Find them online, Facebook and Twitter, at Tedco RV Supplies. First, the second of 3 Toddcast guests this week is our sporting guest. As mentioned, her second appearance, it's IFBB Bikini Pro Nicole Cerrini. That is powered by Sacred Meds. They're back on Canada's best online dispensary for cannabis, psilocybin, psychedelics. It's a great little site. I go there all the time. They sponsored us a bunch over the years. We're talking, of course, weed and mushrooms, but there's hash and oils and vapes and so many great strains. There's tons of edibles. You can shop now through sacredmeds.co, sacredmeds.co. As mentioned, second time you've heard Nicole on this cast. She's a retired registered nurse focusing now, since COVID, on fitness and training. She's all about commitment and balance, healthy living. She talks a little bit about balanced nutrition and processed foods. We'll get more on that in just a little bit. First, listen to Nicole talk about being an early riser and meditating in the morning to set the tone for the rest of the day.
Oh, man. You know, I love early mornings.
Yeah,
I'm an early riser. I get up usually around 5:36 each day. And I just find, I find it so peaceful. I meditate each morning. And it's just incredible, especially those beautiful sunrises that you'll see. So yeah, early morning is definitely my favorite time.
How long have you been meditating for?
I've been meditating for about 2 years now. It has really been extremely beneficial to me, especially with competing. It just kind of allows you to really tune into your body, reset yourself. And I know it really isn't the easiest thing. Like, I'm still learning different ways that work best for me. Like, guided meditation works best for me specifically. But yeah, I recommend it.
What's guided meditation? What's that?
So it's when you're listening to someone else guide you through a specific meditation.
Oh.
For example, like morning gratitude, they will guide you through your breathing techniques, what to kind of think about, tuning into your body, how you're feeling, things like that.
And that's the thing with Nicole. Her knowledge runs deep. It's not just about fitness and nutrition, motivation, living a balanced lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. We talked for just over 20 minutes this time. You can hear it. You can see it right now at Toddcast Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcast, videos, of course, at YouTube. She gave some great exercise tips, touched on calorie intake. And you'll find this pretty interesting. Some foods that are surprisingly good for you.
So something that I think a lot of people steer away from, at least in my experience with my clients, are just carbs in general. People are so scared of carbs. And I think it's just kind of been built into their heads like, oh, carbs are the enemy, like it'll make you gain weight. That's completely not the case. You need carbs for your brain health, your stamina throughout the day. Obviously, you just want to make healthier choices. So, for example, sweet potato, even just regular white potato, it's okay to have that. It's just you're not eating it, drenched in oil and butter.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the biggest myths that come across with my clients. And another one too is peanut butter. I have a lot of clients come to me saying like, gosh, I just keep hearing that peanut butter is so bad for you. And it's actually a healthy fat as long as it's, the natural peanut butter. So yeah, I would say those two for sure.
And if you're going to talk about foods that are surprisingly good for you, then surely you need to touch on the foods that are bad for you, right?
Oh, geez. That goes into like the prepackaged processed things like at supermarkets. You will see so many labels that say, natural ingredients or all natural, things like that. And when you look at the back of whatever that may be, say it's like a bag of chips.
And there's like 30 things. You're like, that is natural.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, I came across these beet chips the other day. I forget where I was. And it had at least 30 different ingredients. And the beet color, red dye. Like, why are we doing that? So, but it's so frustrating because, a lot of people, they don't know. And they're just seeing what they at first label that healthy beet chips, awesome, like all natural, but it isn't. So that's tough. That's a tough one.
For some people, that's going to be pretty powerful stuff. Those packages with a list of 30 ingredients, you probably should do your best to avoid those things. It's fueling your body. As they say, you are what you eat. We got into a lot of other parts of Nicole's life as well, talking about the pandemic and vaccines, cooking, wanting to be a veterinarian when she was younger, how she stays motivated. Aliens came up. So did the Georgia Aquarium. And she talked about her time in nursing and how that definitely influenced the way that she looks at fitness.
100% it does. Yes. And actually, I've moved my career in a different direction. I'm a health coach director now, which has been an amazing opportunity for me. But yes, my nursing degree, it has helped me so much really relate to my clients more, especially when they have specific health conditions that I'm helping them with. Creating their meal plan can be different, especially with people with congestive heart failure. Other type 2 diabetes is a huge one. Giving that education and understanding what they need to eat to better their health overall. So, it has helped immensely.
Toddcast Podcast sporting guest visits are powered by Sacred Meds, Canada's best online dispensary for cannabis, psilocybin, and psychedelics. Shop now at sacredmeds.co. Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
You've heard music from Black Joe Lewis and the Honey Bears since 2007. They're from Austin, Texas. And within a couple of years of forming, Esquire magazine called them one of the top 10 bands to break out at 2009's South by Southwest Festival. And no doubt, if you've seen their live show, you know where Black Joe Lewis shines. He's effortless, or appears it anyway. Critics rave about their live show. They've done the late night circuit, played a couple times on David Letterman's show, the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, Austin City Limits, Coachella, Bumbershoot, Sasquatch, and of course, they're always a highlight of these shows. They've done well on the Billboard Blues chart as well. And cool to talk to Joe about more than just the music. Aliens came up, so did binge-watching Love After Lockup, legalized weed. He shared a near-death story about choking on a fajita, growing up to rap and punk, what his first band was like. And Joe touched on songwriting and whether it gets easier over the years. Listen to this.
I think it gets harder because you kind of get like, it's easier. The more you do it, I feel like it's harder to come up with newer stuff, you know?
Like original stuff and not kind of ripping yourself off almost.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's hard to explain. It's like it's easy to do stuff in the beginning, but to keep it going, you know, it's harder kind of with anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you kind of just, you know, it also becomes more of a job. So you're not like,
right.
It's not as exciting as it was when I was first started doing it, you know what I mean?
Well, of course, dude. I mean, you get the first record, you have as much time in the world to put that one out. And now there's suddenly pressure to, you know, follow up the success, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely tougher.
Listen to this on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC-approved repair shop. Visit them on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies.
Red Truck Beer, delivered fresh, the official beer of the Toddcast podcast.
Well, I'm stranded. We're descending up in the air.
Stem, and a new song for them called Through the Night. Is it just me, or does that one have a little bit of a late 80s East Coast rock kind of vibe to it? A bit of Thrush Hermit going on there. At the end of the month, you've got a chance to see these guys live with the Toddcast Blue Light Sessions. As mentioned, it's volume 32 on Friday, November 29th, Blue Light Studio in East Vancouver. Believe me, you're going to love this place. It's super chill, an easy sort of vibe. The room is super, super small. Like you put 30, 40 people in this room and it's banging. We capped the night at 60 people overall, and then we just do it up. It's super unique to Vancouver scene. It's basically just what you would get if you went to a radio station event. The hosting, interaction with the crowd, with the band, lights, the cameras. It's very cool. With slapping my own back here. I hope you can make it out to this one. You can get tickets to all of our shows at eventbrite.ca. Eventbrite.ca. They're usually $20. A search of Toddcast. You can't miss the shows. So you heard something new to the Toddcast, Chief State, and that's their song called Continental Drift. Cannot wait for their show. That's with us next month. Cloudsick will open up the night, another deadly Vancouver band. That's on December 20th. It's one day after my birthday, so we're kind of using this night to tear shit up and light the place on fire. Hopefully you can make it out to that. A little bit of a birthday bash. Speaking of live music, find shows that you need to be at with the concert calendar at toddhancock.ca. If your band is playing a show or you're going to check it out, if it's indie, let me know about it. I'll get it up at the website, get some free advertising for you. Maybe I'll play a song if I get your music. Of course, I got to have your music to be able to play it. I would love to hear what you're working on. And of course, when you're at the website, check out all of our featured news, mostly music and entertainment. You might get some sports stories from time to time as well. All of that is powered by the Home Dwell Group, longtime friends of the podcast. I've known them since literally grade 6. If you're buying a home, selling your home, contact them today. HomeDwell.ca. HomeDwell.ca. Okay, let's get to our final guest of episode 348, Twisted Recovery Experience founder, Kristina Krajewski, this week's entertainment and lifestyle guest. Powered by Thrive Management, as always, Canada's top event staffing agency. If you need models, ambassadors, servers, whatever for your next event, they're in all major cities across the country. Operations, sales, TV and film, trade shows, you name it. Sasha and her team are ready to help with your next big event. Find out more through thrivemanagement.ca. So Kristina is a grinder. Where does she find the time for everything in her life? Founder, as mentioned, of Twisted Recovery Experience, a master stylist at Kennedy Space Center, and listen to how she became a subcontractor at SpaceX.
I met a girl in there and I looked at her. I said, "You got your own swerve?" Because I'm an entrepreneur, and she was cleaning. Mind you, that is not my preference. Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to get clean and you got to stay clean life, I said to myself, you know what? Let's just go clean all the way if she's self-employed, right? Landed me right in SpaceX. The boss gave me a contract. I'm in SpaceX Zoom. I'm thinking, okay, I'm by the rockets. Holy shit. Like, I'm in the hangar, bro. I'm in there with the fairings, the head of the rockets, every single one that goes out of this place. I see them. I see all the engineers, all of them. They're all like family. They're like, "What up, Kristina?" When I come in, it's a big family of that wonderful crew. He's got amazing things going on over there. And I'm working in there late at night, and I'm totally amazed. And it's like, when I first moved here, I came from Delaware. I didn't know anything. I Googled the cheapest place to live in Florida. It was Titusville. Mm. And so I'm looking around and I said to my daughter, "What in the hell? There's a NASA here." And then the day we got here, here goes a rocket. Look, when you have never seen one and been around it, have you ever?
Watching on TV, but far away, right? Like it's across the world.
Whole new world. Yeah. So, whoa! I live 3 blocks from there now.
Mind blower. Yeah. It must be a mind blower to watch that shit.
What? There's nobody outside hardly. I'm blown away because of the devices. And I said, all this hard work and nobody's out here watching it like crazy, like, back in the day, because everybody can see a device and go on video. It is nothing like being in person. Sorry, come down. Yeah. Because with my house, it shakes constantly, and I go right from my front yard. I live 3 blocks from there. So it's like, whoa, you just feel it. And, everybody gets used to it here. At first, we would run till we almost break our legs.
That's why they're not out watching it, because they're just used to it. We're
so used. Well, I'm one of them now. I'm 3 years almost. So when I run out the house, when we first got here, we ran out our apartment, almost breaking our legs. Oh, my God. Oh, so funny. We're like ready to break each other's legs, jumping out of bed to see it. It is the most beautiful sight. You can't put it into words. You really cannot put it into words, especially when you hear the children's excitement. And I said, oh my God, my higher power or whatever. I look at this as a video game. A bitch is leveling up. Dead ass.
The full talk with Kristina is close to an hour long. You can hear it and see it, another Zoom chat at iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, of course. She's a recovered addict, which you'll hear her talk all about that in the full interview, which is one of the reasons she started the Twisted Recovery Experience. And what a concept.
This show is about the sober person and the addict coming to solutions. None of this doom and gloom, get in the room, you're nothing. There is a time for that. Then
have you picked a name? Have you guys decided on what you're going to call this show?
Twisted Recovery Experience.
Okay.
So it's magic, music, comedy. So we're going to get to the point. I'm showing a journey, and like I really go fast, but I'm taking step by step. I'm doing construction cleaning at 54, and I'm like, I'm not going to go out with just some guy so he takes care of me. I see a lot of ladies do this. Sorry, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And so if I did not have my daughter, I would still be way down the ladder with rides and what have you. And so Twisted Recovery Experience, what we're going to do with that, music is medication. If you're in recovery, you'll see the RX on my emblem. And my daughter drew the drop. Sorry, I'm tired from work. The backdrop for the show. Drop that. And so the backdrop for the show, so she did that on the iPad. And so we got 286 million homes plus their contents in 85 countries. That's our first network. So wow, that's and I'm still listen, I'm working on getting my license transferred from Delaware. I just said, I'm going to do this for myself. I have no one to rely on but myself. And what is going to make me feel of self-worth? I've always been an entrepreneur. I said, we got to help these other ones that this happened to. This is a trickle-down theory that avalanches that you don't even know. Like, what the hell? What the fuck? Whoa. You know what I mean? Like, shit. Like, what the hell is going on? My husband's gone. That's coming out with what happened there. And, he was a wonderful husband when I was married. It wasn't that. It was like this man instantly became, it was addiction. And this is from doctors. And, I don't know how they sleep at night, lots of them, knowing that what they've done to so many families.
Kristina really has a unique background working at SpaceX, the Kennedy Space Center, watching the rockets blast into the sky, all that techie shit, really out there making a difference in people's lives and deeply involved in sobriety and recovery. We talked about family. We talked about working with the Now Network, seeing AC/DC in concert, and she shared her path that led to addiction.
First, it started with doctors, but also started when I was a Miller girl, Bug girl, Jägermeister girl, glorified. Posters with all of them, it was a big thing. Keychains, signing posters, doing promotions, NKS distributors, Standard distributors, which I don't know if you're familiar. Standard is Miller, NKS is Budweiser. Okay. I was making very good money back then. And it was glorified. The 80s and the 90s, it was definitely glorified.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's glorified today, but it's a dead town out there today.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's outside.
And is it like they always say, like, you need to do it for yourself, like you need to want to quit? Is that true, or can you like get thrown into a rehab center and can you walk out the other side ready to go? Or
well, let me ask you a question. Are you a sober person? Have you ever been addicted to anything, a substance or a drink or anything?
I mean, I love porn. I love
that's an addiction.
I love, smoking weed. I do like drinking. I don't know that I'm addicted to it. Like I guess I could probably stop drinking. but I like it.
Listen,
And
I'm addicted to
I
work
fuck my
now.
life up doing it.
Right, because I'm fucking addicted to work now. Are you serious? I'm like, well, one, I'm going to get my life back. But we got a double whammy here. It was addiction from doctors, but it was also COVID. Nobody wanted to be touched. Hair, skin, and nails. Boom. I lost everything. No one wanted to be touched. So therefore, my career was gone.
Yeah.
Sorry. And so I was like, whoa. And, they say higher power. We are going on a faith-based network because we want to make our tribe safe. I don't claim to say I know there's a God. My God, of my understanding, good, orderly direction. Spells out God.
It's pretty open and honest of Kristina to share. And when you hear her talking about addiction, how cool is it that she's giving back now that she's sober? As we always do, we went a little bit further with our guests than what they're known for. We talked about the Florida hurricanes and the destruction in its wake, the music that was in her life as a kid. We talked about politics and Trump, growing up around and being raised by bikers, and pink cocaine and the death of One Direction's Liam Payne.
Whatever happened, like what happened to Liam? Do you know who Liam from One Direction?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Brianna grew up with that group. My daughter, well, I've been in the music scene forever. So, with her watching One Direction, these young girls watched with the boy crushes, you know what I mean? But she loved Harry Styles, but she loved them all like these kids do religiously. So when she saw that, it was devastating. Just that pink cocaine, but it's not cocaine. So what these people are doing is they're going hard on it like it's a hard drug, like it's just coke. It takes 2 granules, like there's 2 granules of salt. If you are not a heroin or whatever user, 2 granules of salt is what it looks like to take your life.
Wow.
So I said, you're to get those fucking lids for your drinks when you're in a bar, yo, because like you don't even know.
That's so scary.
How many of you think are out here being murdered from this stuff? Come on. Let's get real. I said, I'll be the voice. Like, what? I'm sorry. Let's get sober. See the beautiful life. Come on, man. Let's go. Because these kids are going to bars.
Toddcast podcast entertainment guest visits are powered by Thrive Management, an event staffing agency that provides staffing services across Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa, and all of BC. Find out more at thrivemanagement.ca.
Go on, make sure you slam the front door, yeah. Pour all my liquor on the kitchen floor. Throw my clothes all over the front lawn. Do what you gotta do to do me wrong. If you still got a heart, get to tearing mine apart. 'Cause I'll never get over it if you don't leave a mark. Your little mercy, if you're gonna hurt me, come on, just leave me a wreck. Don't leave me anything less. The worst of you might save me. Show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. You might save my life if you ruin it. Out of all the hurt, you know, I think hope is the cruelest. Right now, goodbye just don't quite feel right. Come on, baby, change my mind. Show a little mercy. If you're gonna hurt me, come on, just leave me a wreck. Don't leave me anything less. The worst of you might save me. Show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. All right. got. Don't need any second thoughts. I'll never get over it if you don't give a spark. Show a little mercy if you're gonna hurt me. Come on, just leave me right. Don't leave me anything less. The worst of you might save me. Show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. Come on and show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. Oh, I said mercy. I can't say it again.
I've always said that song reminds me of Eagles and The Long Run. Who's gonna make it? We'll find out in the long run. His name is Kyle McCurdy, and a bit of an older track for him called Mercy. It's one of my favorites from Kyle. I thought you might like it as well. He is a longtime friend of the podcast. In fact, the music that you hear at the beginning and end of the podcast is Kyle's old band called Hard Honey, a deadly band in their own right back in the, I think it's probably like the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s. He's one of those players that regardless of the genre that he's playing, he seems to make it like seem effortless. There's something about Kyle McCurney, a good dude as well, which is always a plus, right? So we're looking forward to next week. You'll hear from 9 guests as they talk about their binge watching habits. He's not a guest next week's podcast, so listen to what 311 bassist Peanut was watching around the time that he jumped to Zoom with us.
Binge watching the 4th season of Fargo on Hulu through.
Oh, you are, eh?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. God damn, it's good. I love all of the seasons, and I love living in that world. But this 4th season with Chris Rock and Jason Schwartzman is just incredible. I think I don't know if it's the best, but I love that it's doing what it's doing. And I'm on like the last episode, and I'm like watching 10 minutes at a time and finding some excuse to stop it and, pursing it out. I like that about modern series watching. Who knew that we could watch 15 hours of a narrative and want more? I know, right? Like Ozark and, of course, Breaking Bad. It's just like, here's this like 50-hour movie that we're all kind of privy to now. And the world is a better place with that kind of long form storytelling. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And I like that. And maybe you felt the same way too, when series will just release like 1 episode a week, and it kind of almost is like nostalgic. It fucking makes you think of like the way it was when we were little kids. Like my kids were like, what? Why are they only releasing 1 a week? What is that? Like, that's the way all shows were.
Yeah, you had to wait, and then it made you think about it. It's kind of cool. You can wait the whole season and then binge watch it afterwards, but that takes a lot of discipline too. If you really want to watch.
Nobody's got that kind of willpower. Like, come on, that's not happening.
Next week, you will hear 9 guests talk about binge watching, the movies, the shows, the online rabbit holes in their lives. And of course, I'd love to give a big thanks to this week's guests as well before we wrap things up. Elena, Nicole, Kristina, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. The little podcast that could. Loved hearing all about your stories and love sharing your lives with us. Appreciate that. So let's wrap things up. Episode 348. Again, my name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening and for being there. If you liked this episode, please do share it with your friends. It's a big way of how we grow. And of course, subscribe and leave a comment. Rate us. All that good stuff. We are part of the Realm.fm network. A shit ton, I believe that's a metric shit ton, of fiction and nonfiction podcasts at the touch of a button. They're absolutely massive. Realm.fm. Find us on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more, wherever you listen. Goes without saying, a massive thanks to all of the businesses who support us. You can find links to all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. Packages start at $300 a month if you want to get your business involved. As always, and let's see Joe Rogan do this, help us find a sponsor. We will give you a commission on the ad buy. All right? Till next time, don't be an asshole, because nobody wants to be around that. Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself.
You've been listening to the Toddcast podcast, powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, dedicated to helping you find the best mortgage rates. Available 7 days a week at citywidemortgage.ca.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast, and with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.